Hey everybody, Raul here for Bass Musician Magazine, and today we have the extraordinary honor and pleasure of chatting with founding member of Sick Puppies, bassist also for Evanescence, Emma Anzai. Yay!
How's it going?
Outstanding, outstanding, Emma. Thank you for taking time to chat with us. As always, we always like to go to the past. How did you get started in music and particularly on bass?
Well, I grew up in Australia, in Sydney, Australia, and there was this band called. I hadn't been playing music. I think I played guitar at the beginning, and I discovered this band called Pre-Shrunk in Australia. I don't know if they're still around, but they had two bass players and a drummer, and I thought that was really fascinating. And obviously, there was a lot of emphasis on bass, so I was really I was inspired by that. That one played like an effect, like lead type role, and the other played like a rhythm slap kind of role. And I was fascinated by both, and that you could do both in one instrument. So I started to sort of gravitate towards bass, and then also the Australian band Silverchair. I got heavily into them, big fan, and loved bass player Chris. He was awesome. He is awesome, and so yeah, that's kind of how I got introduced to bass.
Nice. Now, are you self-taught or did you pursue further studies?
Mainly self-taught. I did have a few lessons here and there just because I wanted to make sure technique was right and make sure I was doing something, correct and not completely the wrong way. But mainly self-taught. I watched video like Lewis Johnson video. I remember that. I remember meeting one of the guys from Pre-Shrunk, and he recommended the Lewis Johnson instructional video, which I of course went out and got right away. And then I got the Flea instructional video. This was back in when they had like VHS tapes, and he had like a instructional video. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I had River Phoenix in it. It was really interesting. It was cool. But yeah, those are the two like main instructional videos I watched.
Nice, nice. Well, and Sick Puppies goes back till 97, I guess. So you guys have been at it for quite some time now.
Yes, yes, we have.
How did all of that kind of come about?
I met the singer in high school around the time that I got into Silverchair, Pre-Shrunk, and he was into Silverchair as well. And so we sort of bonded on that and started a band based on that because no one else in the school really wanted to play music like us. They were more into like, which now was really cool, Beastie Boys and Rage Against the Machine and stuff. And back then we didn't really, I mean, we kind of listened to it a little bit, but now I'm like a huge Rage Against the Machine fan. But yeah, we just sort of played school concerts together, and then we found a drummer there. It's a long history, but a lot of member changes. We changed drummers once we got here, and Mark and Mark's in the band now, and then we switched over to Brian in 2014, 15, I think. So yeah, there's been a few member changes, but we're still going strong.
Nice, nice. And the music that you play, it's always kind of interesting when they kind of try to, I'm going to say, pigeonhole you into genre, because you're kind of alternative, indie, definitely rock.
Right.
How do you describe your music?
That's a good way of putting it. It is kind of broad. I would just say, if anyone would ask, I would just say rock. But anything other like deeper than that, I'd probably say alternative slash, I don't know, like it's hard to classify prog, maybe some bit of prog in there. I don't know.
Well, and that's an interesting use of the term, because when we look back kind of historically at groups, what they were doing was at the time progressive, but then and now that we look at it over decades, you go like, think of like Rush or some of these bands that you go, wow, that was very progressive when they had chosen to do it, and may be more mainstream now as compared to what's happening.
Very much so. I know, it's kind of like that, isn't it? Like I remember when I heard like Soundgarden back then, and I was like, I mean, obviously it's not very out there now, but and or even back then, but to me I was like, especially the guitar parts and stuff, I was like, wow, this is really out there. And I really appreciate it now, because I realize, because now I don't hear that, and obviously that voice, you don't hear that voice, I don't, and so they were really special. Yeah.
Nice. Well, and with that said, and as you've been at this for some time, where do you find, like, who do you listen to for inspiration and creating your parts and what you're doing for the band?
I really love, well, with the the beauty of social media now, mainly Instagram, is that you get to see like bass players, musicians from all over the world make videos, and you know what I mean. It's all in a concentrated place, and I have discovered a lot of bass players slash musicians, drummers, that kind of thing. Like just kind of like being on there, and like how it like recommends you people and whatnot. And there's like bass players that I never would have heard of if it wasn't for Instagram or drummers, and I see what they're doing, especially like with it's progressive. I don't know if you can call it progressive, but like the use of that technique thumping. I remember like when I was into Victor Wooten, I still am, and he was also a big influence too. And I remember when he was doing that, the double thumb thing, and I could never do that. I was like, that's wild. And I'm seeing like, younger bass players do it now, and I'm like, they're kind of like taking it and making it their own. So it's really cool to see that, like going way back to say Louis Johnson days and Flea and Stanley Clarke and Victor Wooten and Jock Pistorius and stuff, and the way they used to play and interpret bass versus now. It's really cool. And like I like to like obviously I've seen those videos and I know there's players from back then, but now like see how these players play and also their tone and how different it is, and I think it's really cool.
Nice. Well, and as we're speaking of tone and sound, how do you get your sound? What are you playing on?
When I play through cabinets, like with Sick Puppies, I play through cabinets and pegged, and now I'm kind of venturing into the world of like amp modeling and capturing sounds and having it all in one place. And I've started using the quad cortex by Neural DSP. And it's kind of funny because you've got this school of people who are purists and who are like an amp, a real tube amp versus modeling stuff and then comparing how that sounds. And then on top of that, you've got like that company I mentioned, Neural DSP. They've got plugins as well, which I really got into as well when recording and writing and stuff. And then being able to use that sound live, or at least bringing it over or modeling it. But now they're actually integrating their plugins into the quad cortex, which is very exciting. So that's kind of how I'm, and also Dark Glass as well. They have pedals mainly for bass, just for bass actually.
Yes.
Just that sound. Oh, and Dark Glass does have a plugin, Neural DSP, so therefore I can put it in the quad cortex and it's great.
Nice. Now, and bass-wise, if I remember correctly, you were more originally playing Warwick, but you've moved kind of more onto Ernie Ball, Music Man, Stingray kind of stuff?
Well, funny, because Pre-Shrunk, that band that I mentioned earlier, played Warwick, and that's how I got introduced to Warwick. And I was like, I have to get one of those then. And so, I played Warwick for years. They're fantastic, and great basses, great for slapping. And then ever since I transitioned to Evanescence and playing for them, their previous bass player, Tim, who plays guitar now, he played Music Man. And just around about that time, I think it was like after the pandemic during, I was also transitioning to Music Man. I was like getting curious about their sound. So when I did join Evanescence and he already played Music Man, it was already like part of the band's sound. I was like, well, that's meant to be then. I really enjoy playing Music Man as well, particularly for Evanescence, because you can really get the sound that they use, in their previous albums and stuff. So yeah, it worked out well.
Nice. And do you have a preference in strings?
Ernie Ball strings, yeah.
Nice. Well, and as we look ahead, I know it's kind of exciting. I'm seeing recent videos and things. We'll make sure that we share those. But what's in the works? What are you guys up to? What's the plan?
Well, I know we're writing and recording with Evanescence. And then on that side of things, Sick Puppies, we're releasing an album very early next year, but we're releasing singles this year. And I've got shows lined up for next year. And same with Evanescence, there's shows lined up for next year. So just doing a bit of both for the foreseeable future.
Nice. And if people want to stay on top of what you're doing and find out so that they can, kind of partake and enjoy it as well, where's the best place for folks to look?
Sickpuppies.com for Sick Puppies. And then just social media, Instagram, X, and Facebook, just Sick Puppies Official. And then Evanescence Official for Instagram and Facebook as well.
Very nice. Well, Emma, we appreciate you again taking time out of your schedule to share all of this information with us and your journey and all of this great stuff. Folks, you've seen her here on Bass Musician Magazine, Emma Anzai.
Thank you.